Okay, so we all know that feeling, right? That first morning, new company, maybe a bit too much coffee.
Ah, yeah. Fumbling with the temporary badge.
Exactly. And then you face that mountain of paperwork, passwords, policies. We tend to treat onboarding like this chore we have to get through.
Just a bureaucratic checklist, basically. Get system access, check the compliance boxes.
Right. But what if we're completely misunderstanding the whole point of that first week? What if onboarding wasn't just about logistics, but more like a deliberate cultural handshake?
That's precisely the shift in thinking the leadership materials we looked at are pushing for. Seriously arguing that the old way logistics first, culture maybe later, it just completely misses the mark.
Misses the mark on what, specifically? Retention, engagement.
Both, yeah. It's not just about processing a new hire like they're an invoice. It's about being intentional right from moment one, about setting them up for long-term success.
Okay, so our mission for this deep dive, then, is to explore how companies can stop just drifting on this, how they can turn onboarding from that simple function into what the research calls culture in action.
Hmm.
And we're going to focus hard on connection, on being intentional, and there's this very specific data-backed timeline for retention we need to unpack. And that focus on intentionality, that's really the core philosophy here. Joe Prillmayer, whose work pops up a lot in these sources, he frames it really well. It's like, drift without direction or chart your course by your North Star. I like that. So if leaders are just passive about onboarding.
You're choosing to drift.
Yeah.
Basically leaving retention up to chance, which, isn't a great strategy.
No, definitely not. That really sets the stage, because if you go into day one thinking, I need to chart the course, it changes everything, doesn't it?
Completely transforms the interaction. The sources really stress this distinction. Onboarding is that moment the company says clearly, you belong here, we're invested in you. It's less about the system access, much less, and much more about building that feeling of psychological safety right away.
Okay, but I gotta ask, isn't this just common sense? I mean, why does this still feel kind of revolutionary?
Well, because historically, HR departments often have treated it like a transaction. Get the I-9 done, sign the NDA, watch the safety video, boom, you're onboarded.
But that's where the psychological safety just dies on the vine, right?
Exactly. When a new hire feels isolated, hunting around for basic answers, feeling like just another number, they start questioning their decision to join before Friday even hits.
That feeling of just trying to survive, not thrive,
Yeah.
it's got to be incredibly costly for companies.
Oh, massively costly. If the company treats onboarding like just a checklist, they're basically setting that employee up for a quick exit. And, the stats replacing someone can cost anywhere from half to double their salary.
Wow, so every bit of effort put into genuine connection and safety in those first few days.
It's a direct investment,
Really?
seriously, against huge future costs.
Okay, so let's unpack the hard data. The research we looked at is super specific. It pinpoints one key thing, an intervention that seems to make or break early retention.
Yeah, it zeroes in on connecting the new hire with a peer. But the timing is everything.
All right, what's the crucial intervention then? It's about immediacy, specifically around assigning a peer mentor. The materials are really clear, and it's backed by industry best practices. You must assign and introduce a peer mentor within the first 72 hours. 72 hours, 3 days. That feels incredibly fast, especially in a big company where managers are swamped.
It is fast. But it's not just a nice-to-have for later. It's framed as an urgent, high-impact move.
Okay, why so tight? What's the logic? Is there like a statistical cliff you fall off if you miss that 72-hour mark?
The data suggests there really is. New hires who get connected with that peer mentor in those first 3 days, they are 36% more likely to still be with the company after their first year.
36%. That's huge. That's not a small improvement.
No way. That's the kind of difference that separates a high-performing company from one that's constantly churning through people. If you miss that window, that initial feeling of vulnerability and confusion, it starts to harden into disengagement fast.
Okay, a 36% boost in retention from one specific action in 72 hours. That requires some serious efficiency behind the scenes. You can't just manually pair people up that fast across a big organization, can you?
No, you really can't do it consistently or at scale manually. This is where technology absolutely has to play a role. The sources really emphasize leveraging tech here.
Like what kind of tech?
We're talking about tools like North Star AI, which gets mentioned, and various cloud-based HR platforms. These aren't just for tracking vacation days anymore.
Right.
They're designed now to actually analyze the new hire's profile, look at mentor availability, experience, maybe even cultural fit factors, and make that match happen incredibly quickly and effectively.
So the AI helps make the connection feasible within the deadline.
Exactly. The AI helps ensure the organization can actually hit that 72-hour mark consistently everywhere for everyone. It takes the manual burden off and increases the quality of the match.
Okay, so tech enables the connection, but the connection itself is the human part. And they call this time frame the retention trigger window. Is that right?
That's the term they use, yeah, the retention trigger window. It's basically that critical period when the new employee decides, maybe subconsciously even, okay, do I feel seen here, supported, set up to actually succeed?
Or did they just throw me into the deep end without a life raft?
Precisely. Or without even a map to the shoreline.
And the peer mentor is the map, or maybe the life raft, but their role is specific, isn't it? It's more than just showing someone the ropes on software.
Oh, much more. The mentor's real job in this window is cultural translation and providing that psychological safety net.
Cultural translation, like what?
Well, think about all those little questions you have on day 3. Like, where's this decent coffee machine? Or is it okay to email the VP directly? Yeah, or should I go through my manager? What's the real deal with leaving at 5 p.m. on a Friday?
Huh. Yeah, the unspoken rules, questions you feel kind of dumb asking your boss or HR.
Exactly. But they're crucial for actually navigating the place.
Yeah.
The peer mentor is that safe zone. Ask anything, no judgment.
So they kind of model how things really work, bridging that gap between the official handbook and the day-to-day reality.
Spot on. And they actively build that sense of belonging. They give you real-time cultural tips, show you how to handle small bumps in the road, and just establish that one-on-one relationship that says, hey, I've got your back.
It's like an immediate injection of trust.
Yeah, into what's usually a pretty stressful situation.
Okay, so that covers the external connection, the handshake, the mentor. But you mentioned connection isn't just external. The research talks about integration starting within the person.
Right. This is where it gets really interesting, I think. They talk about internal onboarding.
Internal onboarding.
Yeah. And to help with that, a lot of these forward-thinking onboarding toolkits now include a simple but pretty powerful emotional intelligence self-assessment.
Ah, emotional intelligence, EI. Okay, so it's not a test to pass or fail.
No, not at all. It's more like a reflective benchmark. It's designed to help the new hire understand their own operating system, how they react, what drives them before they try to learn the company's operating system.
That makes sense. Get clear on yourself, how you handle stress, feedback, whatever, before you jump into the whirlwind of a new job. The assessment covers 5 key EI areas, right? Can you break those down for us?
Sure can. They provide a really solid foundation. First is self-awareness. This is kind of the bedrock. Just recognizing how your own emotions, frustration, excitement, nervousness actually influence how you act and make decisions day to day.
Knowing your triggers, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Second is self-regulation. This is about managing those emotional reactions, especially when things get stressful. Imagine a new hire gets 3 urgent, conflicting tasks on day 4, and then their laptop freezes.
Oh, nightmare scenario, but totally plausible.
Right. Effective self-regulation means they can take a breath, figure out priorities, communicate the issue calmly, instead of just melting down or firing off angry emails.
Okay, that's crucial for navigating the inevitable bumps. What's third?
Third is motivation. This is about staying driven by more than just the paycheck. It's that internal drive, maybe
Yeah.
commitment to the team's goals or the company's mission.
Got it. Intrinsic motivation.
Exactly. Fourth is empathy, which is huge,
Yeah.
right? The ability to genuinely understand and share someone else's perspective. Super important when you're working with different teams or dealing with colleagues.
Definitely. And the fifth?
Fifth is social skills. This is kind of EI in action. How you communicate effectively, how you collaborate, build relationships within the team structure.
So the relevance for anyone listening, whether starting a new job or leading a team, seems pretty clear. By starting with this self-clarity.
You empower the new employee right out of the gate. They can navigate the new environment, knowing their own strengths, and maybe where they need to be more mindful, rather than just stumbling around reacting to everything.
It changes the whole dynamic.
It really does. It takes away some of that double stress, learning a new job, and trying to figure yourself out in that new context all at once.
Okay, so if we boil all this down,
Yeah.
all these sources, the data, the concepts, what's the single core message for leaders? For the execs maybe only focused on the bottom line.
I think the synthesis, the main takeaway, is really a strong call to action. Stop thinking about retention as something you worry about at the 6-month review.
It starts way earlier.
Way earlier. Retention starts day one, hour one even. If the real goal is cutting down on attrition, especially that costly early turnover,
Yeah.
leaders have to shift their focus. You need to design an onboarding experience that's deliberate, measurable, and deeply human-centered.
Which means focusing hard on those three core things right from the beginning.
Connection, emotional intelligence, and intention. You can't just hope connection happens by accident.
Right.
You've got to use your systems, maybe AI like North Star, and your best people to make damn sure it happens in that critical 72-hour window.
You have to choose your North Star, like Prillmayer said.
Yeah, choose it and actively chart the course for every single person you bring on board. No drifting.
It's actually a pretty powerful idea when you frame it like that, replacing that dreaded checklist with a meaningful cultural ritual, all built around that 72-hour trigger and self-awareness. The goal isn't just processing paperwork.
No, the goal is integrating a human being who feels ready and equipped to actually thrive there.
Which brings us to our final thought for you, the listener.
Yeah, let's leave you with this to chew on, applying this idea of extreme intentionality. If cultural translation and making people feel psychologically safe are genuinely your top goals for onboarding, how radically different would you design just the first hour with a new employee?
The very first hour.
Yeah. What would you change if you were absolutely committed to making sure they never had to ask one of those supposedly dumb questions to anyone except their designated peer mentor? How could you front-load that 72-hour principle right into the first 60 minutes?